things which I think few people understand. One was OTA. OTA is made our life miserable or clear because price for 8 OTAs you get very reasonable and very cheap. I'll say that.
Can you clarify for our audience what is OTA?
See, OTA is that you get through from few booking.com, all these few agents there, direct booking, which they come, we put OTA on the systems, very, very cheap rate, I'll say that.
So if you're not in the industry, OTA is online travel agency.
Agents, yeah. That's what I'm saying. And we have to pay them commission also, decide the rates. So David said, don't give the rosy pictures. To make new hotels, you just give me the rosy picture. I can name you few hotels which really they are making money here. They're making, I will say that, negative approach. You can see that few hotels who are riverside. David was talking about ADR. ADR is not increasing, it is going down. It means the quality of tourists which is coming in Bangkok is not good. Spending power is
So who are the
not
people
there.
who have advised these people, the hotels that are coming up now?
David said very short but rosy picture. We should not give it. Coming time will be very, very tough, especially for the hospitality.
Now this visa on arrival, free visa on arrival for 19 countries, and a total of 57 countries do not pay anything for the visa. Now, how much of an effect does this have on the tourists coming in?
It will increase definitely, volume-wise. But again, I'm talking about revenue. I'm talking about EDR. The quality of people who will come not same which they came 5 years or 4 years before. The spending power is not there. Of course, is on arrival. People just, especially from India, if the people come just, we want long weekend, let's go there.
Now, the last year's Phuket boat accident with the Chinese tourists, where a lot of and the shooting of an Indian tourist at a parking lot in Bangkok.
The boat there.
At
Incident.
Pratunam.
Yes.
Pratunam.
Yes,
Pratunam.
yes.
Right. Now, safety of tourists. Then the other thing is the dual pricing, the immigration rule changes, the long queues at the airport, the bomb and the coup rumors and events happening. How much does that affect a prospective visitor?
It is really concerned. Are the tourists who are coming, they are safe here or not? Not today or tomorrow. They have to think. Thailand people has to think that.
Arjun, I want to bring you into the discussion here. Now, Thailand is number 10 or nearabouts in the number of most visited countries according to the World Tourism Organization. Now, this could be a dated figure, but it's somewhere around there. And I also checked that the 9 most visited places in the world, no place in Thailand is on that list. So what, according to you, brings a tourist to Thailand? What's the attraction? What's the charm?
Hello? Yeah. I mean, first thing about Thailand is value for money. You've got something for a backpacker to pay $40 a night to somebody who's willing to pay $1,500 a night as well. So you've got all forms of kind of travel that people can adjust to. It starts from there. Thailand, I mean, the land of thousand smiles, right? So, and like a couple of the panel members were sharing, I think what attracts people to Thailand is its authenticity as well. And that's what Thailand needs to look at in terms of sustaining that. If they have to kind of grow, growing is one thing, sustaining is one thing, so that's something we need to look at. There are so many untapped places in Thailand that people are not aware of, and I mean, for us, for example, there's a British community that goes to Koh Samui. There are a lot of Germans and Scandinavians that go to Khao La. The Indians go to Bangkok, Pattaya, and now they've started exploring in Phuket as well, because of the direct flights and things like that. So there is so much more to explore. If you do a 10-day holiday, you can actually experience 3 different destinations just an hour's flight away. you know, and definitely the value for money. I mean, you can get a top of the line 5-star in a low season at $120 a night, you know, which is unheard of really anywhere else. And the kind of hospitality there is. People from the Caribbean, the America are flying down, you know, and they're wanting to come to Thailand purely because of the value attached to it. They're willing to spend that kind of money on their tickets, spend about 20 days here, and then go back because they know, I mean, by the end of it, it's just the ticket money they're spending. Getting $100 in America, you'll probably get a B&B or something like that there.
Okay, Rakesh, I'll take what he said. He said value for money, right? But with the rising baht, and I'll club two of my questions together over here. Now, with the rising baht, where does a tourist say, at what point will he say, learn to say, hang mak, right? That's one point. And the other thing is, Thailand is dependent on China a lot, right? Which is why once we had the incident last year, the local industry was in doldrums. It was a major situation, right? So how does this baht, strong baht, and with Uncle Sam looking over your shoulder, making sure you're not manipulating a baht to make it weaker, like they do with China, they're not going to allow you. Where do we go from here?
See, Uncle Sam has to realize today or tomorrow the bath is very strong and it make really difference and it has to fix up the bath. Coming time and it is, if you coming from America, coming from India, coming from anywhere, you see the value of money again. Arjun mentioned that, of course, destination is very, very reasonable. I won't say cheap.
You mentioned OTAs and ADRs, and can you give me an idea for an average hotel? You're not talking about a 5-star or a boutique or a 4-star, but on average, what would be the level break-even point in terms of occupancy that a hotel requires before they start trembling?
That's a very loaded question because it all depends on the amount of food and beverage outlets that you have, the staffing, the number of rooms. I could be up here selling you a love story of Thailand and tourism guests and it's all wonderful. But the reality is whenever you've got people on stage talking about tourism over the past 30 years, people are always whining and the future is not looking good. But we've moved from 1987, the first year of Visit Thailand year, that was a landmark for the kingdom, to now facing over 40 million tourists. So we have to be doing something right. But the industry, like most industries, is very disruptive. And digital is disrupting the industry, and also the new generation. The younger generation are not booking and travelling in the way that their parents did. And also the Tourism Authority of Thailand are part of this. You know, for 3 to 4 years, the TAT, Tourism Bureau, have been promoting go local, travel local, experience local. So what does that mean? That means maybe staying in an Airbnb or in a guest house or somebody's home, in homestay. Now, I met somebody who is operating 8 hotels in this city and they're under the radar. And their business is booming because they don't classify themselves even a 3-star hotel. Very small, basic rooms, no restaurant. You sort of grab and go to the 7-Eleven next door. And their business is off the scale and they're looking at expanding more. They're not a member of the Thai Hotel Association, they don't do any marketing, it's all digital. And they've got the millennials that are staying in there that want basic accommodation, low price, so they can spend more in destination for that local experience. And this is where our traditional hoteliers, and like myself, who's becoming a dinosaur in the industry, we need to shake up to the reality that the business model is changing. And I think the investors also need to realize that. Whether you have, a Kun Ying who wants to build a 5-star hotel and impress her friends with 5-star status, that is not where the business is at the moment. But the glamour of having a 2.5 or 3-star property isn't necessarily there, but that is where the growth is. And it's the growth in the market is at the lower end, and the distressed market is in the higher end. I was attending a function where we had buyers from Singapore that were flown over by the government, by TSEP, 4 weeks ago. And a hotelier in Phuket came up to me and said, help me with my sales. They're a competitor. And they are running at 15% occupancy on a majority of dates over the past 2 months. And the owner is saying, what's happening? It was never like this after the tsunami, when we had the Thai politics. So it is distressed for some hotels, but there's also success stories out there as well. So it's a very disruptive time. From digital and AI, I think, is artificial intelligence is going to be even more disruptive. Digital has changed back of house within the hotel. So I'm dancing around here. I've got a lot to tell in my few moments. But if you go back 7 years ago, when I first started in Amari Watergate and Amari Pattaya, in the sales department, the king of the castle, apart from the general manager, was the director of sales and marketing. And when I left a few years ago, that had changed because it was the director of e-commerce and director of revenue, the combined position, who had number 2 status in the hotel. They were controlling and managing all the online digital offerings, and that's the growth area. And I've seen this change back of house within sales. And I was at a university presenting, and I said to the youngsters coming into the industry, I think that within the next 10 to 15 years, we will see a very dramatic change in how hotels operate from artificial intelligence, AI. Because once AI starts having the connectivity with computers, we can source customers. I could pay, and through AI and blockchain technology now, I could get 2,000, let's say 2,000 people from India who have been to Bangkok before, who might have bought a book on Thailand, who've switched on to internet and looked at something about Thailand, and I get those people. So when you've got a sales department of 15 sales ladies going out on a shotgun approach trying to find somebody who's got business, I think that AI is going to disrupt that, and it's going to be far more digital in how we source business. And if you look at the robotics as an example, 30 years ago, there was a huge displacement of the workforce in the blue-collar workers. And you go to most motor companies now, and if you were there 50 years ago, you might have 1,000 workforce. Now you might have 100 because robotics, the robots are building cars. I think AI is going to displace the blue-collar workers, the white-collar workers now, and particularly in our industry. So we may see a reduction in the sales side and certain back-of-house operations that's currently labour-intensive, and those people will need to be retrained and move more front of house, so there'll be more of a greater direct customer experience. That's the relationship between hotels and the guests, and where I see it going within the next 10 to 15 years.
Now, AI and blockchain, if your son or your daughter is asking you for what career they want to go, think about those 2 words, right? Looks fruity. Okay. Now that will bring an end to the first part on the tourism industry. Basically, if anybody has a question on this subject, you can go ahead now as we change tracks and go on something much more a bit lighter. Yeah. All right. I think you have been very clear enough for all of them. Okay. I want to know now. Let's talk about the guests that come here in Thailand. Which particular segment of guests spend the most, number one, and as a corollary to that question, who are the most, which segment is the guest that you most like to have in your hotel? Not as a spender, but from any other criteria. Rakesh.
We'll take it as a spender first because we are a hospitality.
So that's why I put my spending first.
Yes, spending first. I will see that, especially the Russian used to come. They used to spend a lot. They are coming still, but not the way used to come, because they never used to go out from the hotel. Breakfast, lunch, dinner in the hotel. So we used to make a lot of money. And if you see other nationality Japanese. Japanese comes, they spend a lot of money in the hotel. We make money. And after that you say yes. Now few FIT Indians, we should not forget that. And the last, I will say that 7-8 years, people really appreciate. In Thailand, they come and spend a lot of money in the hotels. Spending means own food and beverage.
That's from a point of view of spending.
Yeah.
What about other aspects? Like some customers are a bit troublesome and not very easy to handle.
I won't take that nationality.
No, I want to know who are the best ones, not the worst ones. I won't go there.
I take all the customers. I guessed all the best ones there.
Okay.
They are paying us money. We come, we get a money, and you always get the very good customer. You always get a worst customers. We should know how to handle these people.
Okay, Arjun has got a mischievous smile. But let me see if he's going to be more blunt about that.
No, I mean, I second them. We're in the hospitality industry. And I think the true sign of a leader is, just dealing with this.
We can switch off the camera if you want.
No. I mean, it's really what it is, And I think it's really not about a nationality here. It's more about an individual, and how we deal with that. And honestly, in the Marriott we have the simple philosophy of the learn model. It's basically listen, empathize, apologize, rectify, notify. If you just follow the basics, it's really more individual based. It's more about the cultural nuances. It's different people. Like for example, a Japanese, he's not going to say anything to you now, but he'll go back and he'll TripAdvisor the hell out of you, or he'll probably send an email to you. He'll use those platforms to kind of complain later on. Chinese can be right in the face. Indians we all know. So it's really not about individuals or individual nationalities per se. It's really about adapting to those nuances, and it's more personal than.
Now you said and Indians, Oh, are they difficult to handle?
We can't live with them. We can't live without them. It's more like that.
Wonderful marriage.
It's like that. It's a. From a Thailand tourism perspective, like David was sharing, we've seen growth in leaps and bounds. That's one market. There may be a political turmoil. You'll still see Indian coming here, And you get all clientele, you get all kinds. You can get an incentive of 1,000 people coming in one night. Staying for a couple of nights in Bangkok, and you can get another client spending 50,000 by night, staying in a luxury resort in Koh Samui. So they all work in a different way, and it's really. But honestly, it's dealing with an incentive clientele from India. They're actually not that difficult to deal with. It's just about doing the small things, and of course, it's really not that hard. It's really about doing the small things, the cultural things, the food part. And really it's easy. It's more of that leisure customer, who's well traveled, that has probably larger demands. And but that's with everyone, I guess. That's with everyone.
Rakesh, you've been in this industry so long. I want to ask you, I want to twist the tail. Now, I want to tell you, in Lions Club, we have somebody who's called the tail twister. When everything is going very smooth and dull, the tail twister gets up and twists the tail and makes it more jovial and fun. Now, in my club, I'm the tail twister. So let me do my job over here a bit. I want to twist the tail. I want you to tell me a particular incident of a very difficult situation you have had, and how you managed to resolve it.
It happens a lot of times, and again, especially we think why we keep the girls in the bar. He was very, very difficult. He said no. Then I said okay, fine. Let me send the lady manager. And she went and explained him very nicely, very politely. And he said, okay, fine, give me this last drink. And she took him and sent to the elevator. That's it.
Okay. That's good. Okay. Some other things that people want to know about hotel rooms, right? Are hotel safes safe?
100%. We have security now, especially these days.
I don't want to be specific about any hotel, your hotel or your hotel, but generally industry-wise, are the hotels safe?
Very safe, no, I would say that.
So you can put your passport and your money in there?
No problem at all.
So
every room had individual their lockers.
So Biren was suggesting me that when he carries cash with him, he opens the curtain rod and hides it inside when he goes outside. Should he do that?
I don't think Ibrahim will say that. It is.
Right here.
No, it's very safe.
Three of them know me very well.
Any problem, it's very safe.
Maybe it was somebody looked like
Yeah.
him. Okay, so safes are good enough. All right. Now, how does one know if a hotel room is bugged?
We have a certain SOPs, rules, regulations, which I think we have trained the staff very well. They follow that. I don't think any problem there.
But there must be some black sheep in the industry, right? So how does a guest who's staying in the hotel know about this? May make himself safe.
We safe in which way you asking? The safe means
In terms of video surveillance or something like that.
no. I think the frequent people visitor they know it.
Okay.
Visits they know where the cameras are there, where the cameras are not there, and I think it's all taken care of.
The last question on this subject: why is the minibar always so expensive?
Not in my hotel. It really depends, and that's again a very hotel specific thing. We as a hotel, I work for a 1366 room hotel. We as a hotel want to promote people buying things in the hotel. So we've been very clear about a minibar charges. Not at the cost of being at the market rate, but at the cost of being that if you're feeling lazy and you want to have something from your room, you can buy it from that minibar and not make a dash outside and run to the 7-Eleven. And I think people are, and that this trend is changing now. It's a mindset that, let's go enjoy room service and let's go enjoy the minibar. It's just a mindset. The trends are changing. Of course, when you're talking about luxury and other places like that, they're going to be expensive. You're paying 10-15,000 bahts for the room, you ought to pay 500 bahts for a Coke there. But then apart from that, I think this trend is changing. People are promoting, hotels are promoting their customers to buy within the hotel. That's all incremental revenue, the profit margins are great on that. So it is slowly changing towards that.
Especially the hotels are coming. They will be agree with you. Mostly now the new hotels are coming. They have no minibar. They said it's a waste of time and waste of labor. Every hotel you see that they have a family mart 7-Eleven. And what Arjun said is right, that you can just go there, grab their dirt cheap stuff from there. And of course, we cannot give you same price, but we're keeping in the 7-Eleven and family mart. We have to increase the price, which people say they find now. The trend has been changed, expensive.
Right. My final segment is going to be on mice and Indian weddings. But before that, we'll have, if you have any questions relating to what